Well, if you have a child that's really good in sports, you might want to listen to Lima lawyer Jerry Pitts because he's got some advice for you. So, Jerry, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right.
Now, you don't even have to be athletics. You could have a prodigy, a child that plays piano or tennis or just do anything even it's going to get to spelling bees.
Okay,
eventually.
Yeah, that's true.
Because anytime you're going to use what they call name, image, and likeness, that's when all the commercial people come out of the woodwork. And then you even got the logos. And that is important, too, what people don't understand. They're thinking, or what about if somebody tells you, well, we're supplying the schools with all these shoes, and everybody's got to wear them, but I want them to wear them and go on a TV show for me. Now, that's when it all happens. Now, what we need to understand is it's very important that minors, which means kids under 18, cannot sign contracts. So that's when the name, images, and likeness and the money, so it's going to fall on the parents. What the parents normally going to be saying, oh, gee, I need to find an agent. That's the worst thing you can do. An agent, whatever sport or event that is, even if it's playing the piano, if you get an agent, you become a professional. So you're out of the amateur ranks now. And the same thing would happen now. Now, what is the parents going to do? They need what they call a legal advisor. Now, that's just a fancy way of probably saying they need an attorney. So, therefore, you get the attorney or the legal advisor to explain to you about the contracts. Because parents got to understand, if you sign a contract for your child, if it's a long-term contract, that goes beyond their 17th year, which makes it voidable, that the child can void it, then therefore you stuck your child with a contract, and probably your child is going to lose money. That's when we hear about children suing their parents. So that's why, another reason why you got to have the legal advisor. Now, each state determines what is the legal age for a binding contract. Now, normally, Alabama and Nebraska are the two states that they require 19. Now, you kind of wonder about that because you can go to the military at 18. Now, always remember, when this comes to law, there's 100 exceptions to everything because they made sure of that fact. But Ohio is 18, and what happens is, if your parents sign you into something, an agreement or a Burger King or a Wendy's, if you do not void that out by your 17th year, and they have signed you up for extended periods past your 17th year, you may be stuck with that and end up losing thousands of dollars for the mistake your parents made. So you got to be really careful now. And that's why I say, most of all, seek an advisor. A legal advisor. Stay away from agents now, because we know agents, they're going to be coming after you. That's what happened a long time ago to Reggie Bush before they decided to give him back everything after they realized name, images, and likeness. Now, you got to understand about the college stuff. All right, these kids who are going to college nowadays are almost signing big-time contracts. You better off, in some cases, staying in college when you're making $500,000 a year than trying to rush into professionalism. So those are things where we're going to have to watch and be very careful of. That's why I'm going to emphasize again, stay away from agents. Now, I saw a couple commercials here locally where a kid was, for a school, stood up. Now, I don't know if there was any funds exchanged, but it got dangerously close to almost an endorsement. So you got to be parents nowadays, these young kids are becoming, well, we're pretty much training them to nowadays, because we start them off at 2, 3, 4 years old. If you think they're going to be a tennis professional, you start them off much younger than they used to. In the old days, we used to play everything. Now everybody's specialized.
Specialized, yeah.
So we got to be careful with that. And I'm saying, if you see that your youngster is headed in those directions, be careful and seek the most legal advice.
Get professional help. If they sign on the dotted line, make sure you get that extra help, because you can be locked in and it's just not going to go where you want to go.
Your kid never speaks to you again.
All right. Well, Jerry, thanks so much for coming on today. I appreciate it. All right. Well, don't go away, because medical news is coming up next.